Now, UK Column is putting out information for our audience today, but we're being watched very carefully because apparently it's conspiracy. Let's have a look at this King's College report, and a very big thank you to one of our viewers that sent it through. It's the Policy Institute, Conspiracy Belief Amongst the UK Public and the Role of Alternative Media. But let's blow this part up on screen. I missed it when I initially looked at the first page. The report has been prepared for BBC News and BBC Radio 4 podcasts. So a little bit of Mariana Spring priming in here, I would suspect, David. And we're going to run through this quite quickly so we can have a little bit of a chat about it. But here is one of the key authors, Professor Bobby Duffy, Professor of Public Policy and Director of the Policy Institute, worked across public policy areas in a 30-year career, including being seconded to the Prime Minister's Strategy Unit. So we can expect him to be pretty unbiased politically, I'd imagine. And if we go to the second man, Dr. Rod Dacomb, a reader in politics in the Department of Political Economy, Director of the Centre for British Politics and Government. That's a very interesting organisation. Faculty of Social Services, always trustworthy. And then his current research includes inequalities in democratic participation, conspiracy theories, contemporary democracies, measuring the effectiveness of democratic innovation. So Dr. Rod is all for democracy, except when people actually stand up and challenge the government, when he likes to label them as conspiracy theorists. So an interesting gentleman. We couldn't get to speak to him. A little bit of detail from the report, just to show you how it looks. Around a third of the public say various conspiracy theories are probably or definitely true. There's no work as to whether there is truth present or not. It's simply labelled as conspiracy theory. And of course, you can see how the loading is definitely false in red, so it catches your eye, but the definitely true is looking a little bit weaker in green. Oh, but what have we got here? People who get much of their information from alternative media sources are far more likely to believe the pandemic was part of a forced vaccination effort. And if we look at the top, that naughty newspaper, The Light, has been doing most of the damage, followed by our very own Patrick Henningsen, apparently 21st Century Wire. And the UK column is way down in the middle of this. Yet I thought we did a lot of work on this, David.
Well, we were blasting away on matters pandemic-related for 2.5 years.
And we put up the information from the MHRA and the yellow card system itself, but King's College doesn't really want to pay attention to this. So let's follow it on through as quickly as we can. A third of the public overall think it's true that great replacement theory is happening, and outlets like 21st Century Wire, The Light, The Expose, True Social and Breitbart, those naughty people are involved. UK column, here we are, buried in the middle. And let's go to this, greater news consumption from alternative media sources. 21st Century Wire and The Light in top place again. They're winning that. UK column seems to be buried away in the body of the text. And if we have a look at some different graph lineups, people who believe and have read a conspiracy theory about 15-minute cities, well, all of a sudden, UK column is climbing up the ladder. Now, this is interesting because compared to vaccines, our commentary on 15-minute cities is very, very minor. But according to King's College, we're a bit of a danger on that one. Let's have a look at this. YouTube is the top answer. If you ask people about Great Reset, the UK column there is on 3%, but it appears The Light has disappeared down to the bottom at 1%. 21st Century Wire has dropped to 2% there. Seems to me to slightly be different from the reality from UK column's point of view. This is about central bank digital conspiracies, UK column there at 2%, and The Light right down at 1% there. So well done, The Light. And if we dig into more details about the authors of this report, here's Dr. Rod Dacomb again. We've got a research note here, Understanding Offline COVID-19 Conspiracy Theories, a content analysis of the Light truth paper. Yet this was done way back in September 2021, David. So clearly they were lining up to give the BBC the ammunition it needed to attack the Light newspaper.
Since 2021, obviously, almost everything the Light newspaper was reporting on and what she was holding to be as a conspiracy theory has obviously been acknowledged as being truthful.
Correct.
Has he revised that piece or withdrawn anything or apologised or said, well, actually, these people had a point?
No.
No. Okay.
Right. So we'll follow this one through because there's a lot in this report, but essentially we want to see whether we can challenge King's College. Not that they had any involvement in the government's COVID policy at all, but we think we might be able to ask a few questions of the college itself, and we'll see whether they want to respond. But in the meantime, if you're out there watching and listening to UK Column News and you like what we're doing, then please do support us. This is absolutely key. We are expanding. We can expand faster with more financial support from our viewers. And I'd like to say a big thank you to the viewers to date who are the ones who are making UK Column grow. Thank you so much for all your help. Now, you can buy something from the shop. That would also assist us. And we'd also like to say do share the material because this is one of the key reasons that we publish when we're talking about what's happening. It's so that you can take the material and share it far and wide. And David, we've got a little advert here for the event back in August.
No, this is the next event.
I beg your pardon.
This is the follow-up event. Brian and I both spoke at a rally for peace and freedom in August in Edinburgh. This is the follow-up event. It's going to be held in Glasgow, at Glasgow Green, 1 p.m. Saturday, August 26th. I'll be speaking there. David Clues, Lauren Wilson, Alex Pierce, and Colin Buchanan of Glasgow Against NATO Action Committee. We'll all be speaking. So if you are in Scotland or can be in Scotland, please come along and listen to us there.
Okay, thank you for that. Now we're just going to pop up the advert for AV13 again. And once again, I'd like to say to the audience that UK Column has supported AV13 for many years. And we promised Ian Crane that we would help AV13 kickstart the live events. And so Sunday, the 22nd of October this year, that's going to happen in Milton Keynes. I will be speaker, but lead speaker, I'll say, but I'll also be handing over the baton to Gary Frawn, who will be taking the lead for future events. And we'd really like to say a big well done to the Alternative View team. And of course, all that work by Ian Crane, which has created so much information for so many people. Now, we've also had a couple of emails in. Alex intimated this one a few days ago, but a lady telling us a story about a friend. She went to a man's house to buy some plants. Lovely man, 78 years old. His wife was very ill. He said she was suffering with long COVID, full of blood clots in her lungs and major issues with her eyes. They said that the NHS had told the lady that there isn't much that can be done to help her. As we were leaving, he opened up more and said they were going for a scan in Redditch, and that this was the fifth one that the NHS had given her. He said they had to sign something to say they won't speak to anybody about it. When I asked why, he said because they have an inquiry thing going on and they don't want anybody to know. So the key question is the inquiry just for that particular NHS location in Redditch, or is it something to do with the fact that we have more and more people suffering these blood clot problems? And over the weekend, I actually was walking the dog. I met a lady who lives fairly close to me, and she told me that she'd suffered terrible clots in her legs ever since she was vaccinated.
And one of the questions, Brian, is, of course, how much of long COVID is, in fact, vaccine reaction?
Well, of course, we don't know, and King's College doesn't want anybody to know, because if you dare ask the questions, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, we'd like to ask for a little bit of help from Australia. We know we've got a lot of viewers in Aussie. This one was sent through to us, and it's saying that Vinny, Eastwood and Billy TK have been suffering in the prison system and the judicial system, such as it is in Australia. So we're flagging it up. We are paying attention, but anybody that's got information, please let us know. And also a correction from UK column. I mentioned a few days ago that a ship called HMS Diamond had gone through nuclear fallout. I'd got the name wrong. It was HMS Diana. So this is the Telegraph report of the ship, which in 1956 was deliberately sailed through the fallout of a nuclear explosion. And in the years subsequently, men died mainly of very aggressive cancers. And the Ministry of Defence in UK stalled all their calls for help and support. So that was very sad. And where does that now bring us?